Ladies and gentlemen, with me via telephone all the way from Cleveland, Ohio, should be the one and only Yehuda. You there, Yehuda?
Yes, I am. Shalom Aleichem. Hello, everybody.
Lechem Shalom. You know, people in Cleveland are always so friendly.
This is true.
Blanket statement. It was funny 'cause I was telling somebody I was going to interview you, so he's like, "Ask him about the sports team." I don't even remember which team it is because I'm not a sports fan. Was it maybe the Cavaliers?
The Cavaliers.
Cavaliers. He's like, "Ask him about the Cavaliers." I was like, "Why would I ask him about the Cavaliers? I know nothing about sports." He's like, "Trust me, he's from Cleveland. Ask him about the Cavaliers."
Oh yeah, we got a lot of people parading in the streets. That's for sure.
So I was like, "Why are we weird about the Cavaliers? What about the Cubs?" He's like, "Yeah, the Cubs nobody cares about. The Cavaliers, at least there's something possible over there."
Well, it's 52 years since we've had a championship in Cleveland in any sport.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a big deal here.
Between that and Yehuda releasing the first album in almost 9 years, I mean, that's a pretty good year for Cleveland.
Yes, I suppose so.
So Yehuda, I got to tell you, there's a friend of mine named Zevi Kaufman. He's a recording artist and a composer, and he calls me up and he goes, "You didn't tell me Yehuda released an album." And I was like, I don't remember, last time we spoke. He's in Israel, so he's a little bit behind on the music scene. So he's like, I found it on iTunes. I downloaded it the other day. It literally sounds like Yehuda went into a time machine and went back like 15 years and recorded an album. I thought that was for sure the funniest response I've gotten to this album to date.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I was looking to do something in classic Yehuda style.
Mm-hmm.
I know times have changed a little bit, but I wanted to stay true to myself. And really, I enjoy the process of recording music so much. I didn't want to mess with it. I know a lot of times now music is just all electronic. There's very little live musicians, but I made a point to fly to Eretz Yisrael to sit in the studio in Yerushalayim together with my oldest son and bring in the musicians and just do it, do it right, do it the old way like I used to do it. And that's kind of really what I love doing.
Now, I got to ask you, that I'm sure this was very different from you because as far as I remember, you used to do most of the stuff yourself.
So it's really kind of a blend. So, I mean, the process, first we select songs.
Mm-hmm.
I do all the arrangements, and then I'll fly to Israel. All of my albums were recorded in Yerushalayim. Where else can you, wake up in the morning, daven at the kotel, and then go in the studio, right?
You're right. You're right.
So record all the musicians, take everything home on a big hard drive. And then I edit it, and then I add more keyboard and electronic parts, kind of blend it together. I do the vocals, the background vocals, mix it, master it, and send it off. So it really ends up being a blend of, electronic and live musicians. And it's pretty much all, orchestrated mostly here in Cleveland.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that you mix and master. So you're saying the music is done in Israel. So are your vocals then done in Cleveland?
Yeah, the vocals are done in Cleveland. The live instrumentation is done in Israel.
Mm-hmm. So tell me,
and the guys there are just so good. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're just a pleasure to work with, and I really enjoy it.
This time, did you work with the same musicians as you did previously, or was this like a whole new crew that got introduced to you?
No, it was 3/4 of the same guys.
Wow.
The other quarter wasn't available. But I would have had him if I could.
I totally understand.
But the new guys I had were great.
So,
like on Generations, on the last album, I had Ruby Harris.
Right.
He's from Chicago, do the violin. He's the only one that wasn't from Israel.
Mm-hmm.
But on this album, we had Miri Ben-Ari. She's a very famous
phenomenal.
violinist.
They call her the hip-hop violinist.
Yep, that's the one.
Amazing. Let me see who else you got here. Gadi Sari, of course, very famous. Avi Vidani, Avi Singolda, Tzur Ben Zev, Amit Middleman, I don't think I've ever heard of, but the other ones definitely. And you had an extraordinary engineer, Jeff Harvich, who's been part of Jewish music for probably just as long as you have.
Yeah, my first album, Jeff was part of it, and he's been a part of everyone since. And he's really just a pleasure to work with, and he's a real mensch and a great engineer.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. So tell me, Yehuda, once you're doing your vocals in Cleveland, is there anybody that conducts you or tells you whether you're doing a good job, or you engineer yourself and there's nobody else around?
Yeah, I pretty much do it myself. I'll write the parts. But then when I bring in the guys, we had about 25 guys in the adult choir this time around. So once I bring the guys in, the guys will have, ideas on the spot, So I'm always very flexible. The parts that I wrote in advance, we can always adjust it or tweak it, on the fly. But I mean, 25 guys show up. You better have parts ready to go.
I'm just looking now. I didn't realize all the. First of all, Simcha Temkin, I know he was part of a cappella group at one point, and then of course you have Jordan Gorfinkel. I mean, that's a huge name to Jewish music. I'm sure he had a lot of pointers to give you at some point.
Sure. There's also, I don't know if you noticed the name Rabbi Shmuley Friedman, who's Benny Friedman's brother. So he's a Rebbe in Cleveland.
I did not know that. I do see it now. Yeah. I didn't know that. That's amazing.
And I was honored that he was willing to come join me.
Wow. You have a Friedman on your album. That's huge.
Right.
That's huge. So Yehuda, why so long between albums? I think that's probably the one question I've been asked multiple times. Where's Yehuda been? What's he been doing? Why so long?
All right. Well, so I did 6 albums. This album is number 7. So you know, after you work 6 albums, you have to take a Shabbos album. You have to take a break, right?
A 9-year break, yeah.
A 9-year break, right? So actually, when Generations came out, Eftachti came out, I had gotten married, and then Generations came out, I basically celebrated my first son's birth and bris. And then after that, now, Baruch Hashem, I had 3 more children since then. Started a family, started a business, and life just kind of happened as it goes. But the truth is that the music was kind of like pulling at me to come back. The lure of the stage, the studio. I just couldn't stay away.
Well, let me ask you this: what did you listen to? Did you listen to anything in that time, or you were concentrating on business and other things?
Yeah, mostly business and family. I mean, obviously, I always listen to what's going on in the Jewish music world.
Right.
But my kids, my oldest son now is 11, and he started singing, and I have another son who's also 9. He started singing too now. And once they started singing, I'm like, I have to do something, And we did some duets, the national anthem and Hatikva at Jewish Day School here in Cleveland.
Right. I saw the video on YouTube.
Yeah, and they did a great job, and I just kind of felt like, they were growing up without it. They didn't know that side of me. Here I was, my whole life singing all this, all the time, and now they're finally grown up and they don't really see me singing so much. So it kind of made me feel like I had to do something.
Right. Let me show you your father's cool, right?
Yes, exactly.
So it's funny because, people get very mixed reviews, fathers in the business, whether they want their kids to sing or not, or be in the business or not. So I guess you're pro it, right?
I mean, I'm neutral. They can if they want. The most important thing is that they love music.
Right.
And they do. And working on an album, like I have a home studio. When I go in the studio and I turn on the speakers, turn on the lights, they all come in. They hear that I'm playing some music. They come in, they start jumping and dancing and just having a great time. And it's so, the fact that they're so engaged in music, it really inspired me more than probably inspired them.
Wow.
And when I see that, their faces light up with that joy, I know I'm doing the right thing.
But you're in Cleveland, so I hope you're not playing the music too loud after 6 o'clock.
No, we have some space between houses over here in Cleveland.
Another very important person who we have to discuss, which I was told this album would not even exist with, is, of course, your longtime producer and friend, Zale Newman.
Yeah. Zale Newman basically discovered me as a teenager. He was a producer of Shlomo Carlebach, Uncle Leishi, and the legendary MC for the House concerts.
Right.
And I sent him a demo I had made when I was 15 years old, and he was blown away by this. He flew on an airplane to Cleveland and said, I got to meet this kid. He came here, and that week we signed a deal to record my first album, which was Mitem.
Right.
The first big hit that I had. And it's been kind of history since.
But this is something you don't see that often. A long-time relationship, I would say 15 years or so.
More. Yeah.
More, yeah. We are proud to announce that for the first time ever, all 7 Yehuda albums are now available for digital download on iTunes, Amazon Music, Google Play. So that I think is a huge thing. Plus, Yehuda, for the first time ever, has updated his website, yehuda.org, and you can get lead sheets and albums there as well, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
That I believe is a big move, a big step in the right direction in 2016 for Yehuda after a 8 or 9 year hiatus. One thing
you know what? When my last album came out, when Generations came out, there was no Facebook, there was no iTunes.
No.
kind of a new world.
So yeah, we're on. You're on Facebook. You're on Twitter. Another question I got was in the past, I could be wrong, but I do believe you composed some songs on the albums.
Sure. So what I like to do is I always like to compose. For this album, again, with family and business, I was kind of busy, and we just got so many great songs submitted by songwriters, from across the U.S. and Israel, that it was just hard to say no. Like, people send me songs, and they'll be like, "Oh, I heard you're working on an album. I have a song that's perfect for you, totally your style, this or that," and they were great songs. So I never actually had time to sit down and say, "Okay, I'm short songs. I should go write something." I had really a lot of great songs coming in, and the truth is, these are songwriters who are really talented, and I'm happy to help them and put them on the map and share their music. Probably in the future I'll do some more songwriting myself, but I'm not going to turn down a great song just because I didn't write it.
No, for me, it's just funny because I know every one of these composers. Most of them just started out the last few years. They're fairly new, but their stuff, especially with your arrangements, they're some very, very solid material.
Yeah, thank you. When I listen to this album, it's like I literally listen to the songs over and over again. Sometimes you listen over and over, you get bored, you want to switch. I don't know, I find myself able to listen to every one of these songs over and over again, which is, to me, tremendous.
So I got to tell you, it was very funny. I live in Lakewood, and one of my neighbors came over to me one day and said, "Did Yehuda release a new album? My wife said she heard about it. You got to tell me where to get it." So I told him about it. Then he comes in the next day. My wife was very disappointed. There's no English song in the album? Yehuda always has an English song.
No.
So I said, did you look at track 12? So he comes back the next day. He's like, no, you're right. I'm sorry. I apologize. She she couldn't get through the first half. And she didn't see a song with an English title. Throughout the years, you had the song about the dove. You had other English songs with English themes with an English name. Dayenu sounds very, very Hebrew. And we do have to mention, of course, Dayenu, which was composed by newcomer Mendy Fish, also features lyrics by your producer, Zale Newman.
Yes, that's correct.
So, Yehuda, at this point, obviously I'm going to let you go in a few minutes, but I do want to discuss the fact that, and I don't know if I'm allowed to enclose this information to the public, but Zale made it sound like, the next few years there will be more Yehuda coming out. Is that true?
Yes, so we already have plans for two greatest hits albums. One album that'll be all fast, one that'll be all slow. And each of those will have, bonus tracks, several new songs.
Oh, wow.
To go along, yeah.
Definitely something to be aware of. With me via telephone all the way from Cleveland, Ohio, Yehuda ! Talking about the release of his seventh album entitled Rak Likayeim Mitzvos, or if you look at the back cover, Rak Likayeim Mitzvos. If you want to book Yehuda for your simcha or concert, you can send him an email, bookings@yehuda.org. For any of his albums and sheet music, yehuda.org, yehuda.org. His albums are now available for the first time ever. All 7 albums, iTunes, Amazon Music, Google Play, and more. Yehuda, I want to wish you a fabulous summer. Any quirky stories that happened while you were working on this album?
There's always quirky stories. Not one particular that comes to mind.
Right.
But really, the best thing about this album was doing it together with my kids. Family is such an important thing to me, and that's, I think, what separates this album from all my other ones. Is that this one, literally, my kids, were there helping me every step of the way, inspiring me. Even going to Israel to record with me.
Oh, wow!
So that was probably the most special part.
Did you video any of that?
I don't know. I may have a couple clips on my iPhone.
Yehuda, after a Twitter and Facebook account and a updated website and your music on digital media, the next big move, people would say, would be to do a music video.
I've been told that quite a bit, and it's something I think we're going to get busy on.
Okay, well, we appreciate you. Have a wonderful summer.